Let's see who will play God today in the KBS Arena live from Seoul, South Korea. It might be some of these guys from DPlus KIA, although they just got scared from a bee, a fly, something.
That was
Whoa,
huge.
that was
It's a GAM spy. It's an infiltrator.
It's an infiltrator indeed. I'm here at the desk for another day of the Swiss stage where we have a elimination match up first, followed by a qualification match for the quarterfinals. My name is Shax, and I am joined by Dagda and by Huni. Yay! You were already on the desk for a bit, but that was your tryout.
Yeah, it was my free trial, and this is like my real sign-up time, so
Yes.
I gotta prove.
You gonna prove it?
I got as usual.
Yes, as per usual, indeed. Huni, it's awesome that you're here. Yesterday, we of course had Cloud9 versus Fnatic. You know Fnatic quite well from the past. What did you think of that match?
I mean, the match was awesome, Cloud9 started with like only generating lead, and it's like, I thought the Cloud9 has a pretty decent chance, but I thought like, they were actually like, not be able to concentrate like that well in the middle of the game. And that's how the Fnatic was like be able to turn around like all the series, be able to just not lose the series.
Yeah, especially that game 1, they were able to drag it out for so long. And then as we came into game 2, game 3, it felt like with the Rumble taken off the board away from Fudge, that a much simpler time come that early game. They kind of steadied themselves. And then this moment here in game 3,
wow.
Noah, take a bow. What an engage coming through with the setup from Fnatic and then the follow-up from Noah. This is why this champion has been so well associated with Noah the entire time he joined LEC.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how the Noah he just turned around, but just as himself, like all the team fight that he just won the whole series basically. He played almost perfectly. Also, I really like the Rumble pickup as you mentioned it.
Yeah.
The Huni Rumble Master Pro.
So for people who don't know, when is a Rumble Huni approved?
So I mean, usually all the time, like when people actually not taking Ignite, like I'm so mad. But like, if you win, like, just play well. I think that's really completely fine. And also this time, especially Oscarine, and he played perfectly well.
Yes.
So I really liked it.
I mean, he had a really bad time in the first game, and he turned it around for Fnatic. So they are the ones who move on. Still on the brink of elimination, though. And we also had Mad Lions playing Weibo right after, but it was more like Mad Lions versus the Shy, Dagda.
Oh no, don't remind me. This was heartbreaking to cast yesterday.
No.
I mean, it would look so good. Niski 11 kills on the Sylas. I was like, Mad Lions
so
meant to
bad.
pop off. And then this was the fight where it all went wrong. They tried to engage on the Shy, and that kind of became the turning point, not only for this game, honestly, but for the series, where they just felt that they needed to turn onto the Shy on Aatrox every single game, and every single time he punished Mad Lions. Honestly, this looked more like G2 versus the Shy on Aatrox than anything else.
Oh my god, why you have to bring it back?
If I have to hurt, other people have to hurt as well.
I mean, it was like 700 bounty on Niski like that. That was like how the game was like so one-sided. And it's like, it was really also nice to see that Shy, he turned around, like he just completely 1v9 with the Aatrox.
And the rest of the team was probably like, oh, you're going to focus on our top laner? Okay, I'll just do damage, I guess. Unfortunate for the Mad Lions, they had to exit the tournament, and Weibo lived to fight another day. And as we said already, we have our 2 matches today. KT versus LNG is later, and first we have DPlus KIA up versus GAM, still in the elimination bracket, because Huni, DK has just not been doing that well so far.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, DKs is like being like, we kind of judge those teams like, these teams, the DPlus KIA, like especially, I think it's kind of weakest team in LCK right now at the moment, and which is like, that's correct, but also like, I think their ceiling is like so high, but the thing is like, their momentum's inside, like the understanding their patience as a 5 peoples are not high.
We have to see how they're going to evolve. Before we get to that, though, the LCK team and Huni, they went out together with some LEC legends, Jankos and Perks, to explore Korea. Let's check out the next episode.
한국에 오면은 한국 음식을 먹어야 되기 때문에 하나 등골을 먹는다고 그러더라고요. 치즈 같은 맛이 난다고 해서 굉장히 궁금하기도 하고.
It looks very...
It looks like...
a little like cheese.
Yeah, a little like cheese or a little like creamy maybe.
Let's try out. Let's find out.
I don't like it, but I don't mind it either. Like, I could eat it, but I prefer to eat something else like chicken.
You guys want to try? Yeah, I want to try, yeah.
It's a rice wine. That's how you
drink it like this?
Yeah, that's how you drink.
Really?
Wait, you just like do it, everything alone? Like you don't wait for us?
Yeah.
So when you do things for content, it's like, do it together.
In Korea, we do jan.
Gam.
Gambe? Konbe.
So let's talk about some words. What do you guys think how LEC will do well?
Well, we are not there.
We are not
So
there,
they're gonna suck.
Yeah, right. So how was it today? How was the food? Yeah, the food was good. Let's see the next recommendation. Who's this guy?
Oh, this guy owned me 3-0. It's everyone who beat me actually.
박주 형, 양코스 형, 안녕? 요즘 MZ들 사이에서 유명한 인생 레컷이라고 있는데 요즘 또 유행하는 항공샷이라고 있는데 그 샷을 이제 남기면 좋을 것 같아서
You can get sunglasses.
Yeah, that's my boy.
Yeah, that's my boy.
It looks like futuristic, no?
Yeah, Starman
Yeah.
from the future.
Pause. Yeah, that's good. Let's go. I feel like I look. Honestly, we look kind of dumb. Yeah, we do. Like, you know, when I was looking, when we walked in, I was looking at the pictures of people doing it, and they look so like handsome and cool.
Yeah.
But we look just like.
Ugly and bad.
Yeah, basically. Basically that, yeah. Thank you, BDD. Thank you. BDD, thank you.
No, I think they look handsome and cool, but maybe we can do better. Shall we?
Okay.
Oh, here we go. Awesome. I think we do. I'm going to post it so we can see.
Okay.
Awesome. So moving on, you can also check out the full episodes always on youtube.com/LCK Global. So go and check that out indeed. And as we get into GAM versus DPlus KIA, we've got a great interview lined up for you because Laura was able to catch up with GAM CEO TK Nguyen.
And welcome back to this side of the KBS Arena for the Verizon Game Day interview here, joined by TK, CEO of GAM. Thank you very much for joining
everybody.
me.
Hello, Worlds 2023. We are here. Let's go.
It's a big day for you guys. First things first, health
Yes.
check. We heard some
Health
stuff
check.
about Levi not feeling well. Can you let me know what happened? How is he today? Is he ready for the day?
Yes. So Levi is suffering from a sinus infection. It's a pre-existing condition that he kind of battles with, but we've been out here for 21 days.
Okay.
And these guys aren't really used to being in the cold here in Korea. It's really hot in Vietnam. You know what I'm saying? So, but he's doing a lot better.
Perfect.
So I know that he can lead the team to victory. So we're just all coming around to support him and do our best.
I want to know more about this group, about this iteration of GAM, because we've been used to seeing these players on the international stage, but there's a special energy
Yes.
about this GAM roster. Tell me what you think about it and how different are they?
I mean, this team is an amazing team. I mean, once we got punched in the face at MSI, we had to regroup. But this is where, champions are made, for us to be able to bounce back, stay resilient, fight every single day, and just really come together as a team. So we have a really special group. Our bot lane is new from MSI. We have Slayder and Pallet, so it's been really exciting to see those guys together. And for us just to be out here representing for the VCS.
I see the team smiling all the time, and I see you now, and I kind of understand where the energy is coming from. Tell me about your role as a CEO, because it doesn't feel like we often see CEOs having this role and helping the team as much as you do.
I mean, I'm really hands-on, but I'm really just a cheerleader. I'm just really excited to be here with the team. I want to make sure that we give them good energy, because I know when they're having fun, they're smiling, and they're just being themselves, they're going to be at their peak, and they're going to perform and represent.
You guys beat TL last week. Coming into today, DPlus KIA, LCK has 4 representatives. It doesn't feel fair to me.
I know, you guys got 4. Korea, we love you guys. We've been here for 21 days and we've been enjoying everything about it. All the SK teams in LCK have been so welcoming to us. And you guys got 4 teams. Let us get a spot. Come on.
Yeah, let the other wins for one. I want to know about today. What is the mindset for the team? What is gonna be the pep talk that you're gonna give the players to get them in the right mindset, and what the expectation coming from?
I mean, it's do or die. We've already made it further than we even anticipated, or like I think most people had really anticipated for us to make it through all the way from the beginning, through play-ins. Our backs are against the wall once again, but that's where we like it. You know what I mean? We're always coming down from behind, the underdogs. So all of you guys out there, we appreciate all the energy. We're representing for all the minor league regions, you know what I'm saying? From Brazil to Latin America to the PCS, but we're really here to represent the VCS all together and go up against the big boys. So we need your energy today as we go up against DK in Korea on their home court.
Actually, it should start soon, if I'm not mistaken. What time is it?
You know what time it is? GAM time, baby! All right, guys, Worlds is about to start. Back to you guys. Let's go.
Oh my God!
What a legend.
Oh, I love
I
it.
love it. Like,
Oozing charisma.
wow, it's so unique energy, unique character. It's so insane.
Oh, this wasn't a still. This is actually a shot. That's amazing. I can see why GAM's been doing so well with that support behind them. And you mentioned it there, kind of the group of all the underdogs versus the LCK and versus the LPL. We know they've also been rocking the Team Wales pins on their jackets because they just want to represent the entirety of the VCS. But I like that. They're kind of the bastion of the underdogs going for it.
Exactly, and it's also the fact that Team Wales helped them so substantially in preparing for Worlds as well, because when they're coming across, a lot of their players had to play in Asian games, so they weren't actually able to use their full roster. So Team Wales and actually GAM came together to make a roster so they could practice in scrims for the guys that weren't at Asian games. So this is definitely a region that wants to come in and not give up. They want to show their best foot at this international
And
game.
it's not just the, oh, they're going to upset because they're the underdog. They have shown us great play, I think, notably versus Team Liquid. We got to mention the top and jungle, Kiaya and Levi in general. Rumble check also passed.
Proved.
Yeah.
I mean, for GAM, like, it's just really important for them to actually not lose their character, not lose the aggression they have, they can bring to the team. Like, it's so important for them. It's like, I know they're a little bit inconsistent, but the means like they are really enjoying like playing high risk, high reward, which is like when they're winning. I mean, that's how they've been like. The historics wise, like they won against like really strong team, and even yesterday they won against a major, which is like that's a team. I mean, it's a LCS, but still they are major.
Still major region. Yes,
so,
yes.
I mean, they are proved in right now, and they are getting stronger internationally. So I'm so excited to see these matchups.
And I think a large portion of that is because of this top jungle synergy that we've seen. I mean, this was kind of their forte coming in towards even MSI, but we've really seen it take a step up coming in here as well, with the ability for Levi to play towards Kiaya, whether he's on a very strong champion for it to be a carry, or if he wants to go back towards the K'Sante and let something like a Wukong come through for Levi. So I think it's really, really sick, and we see it here on your screen. The win versus TL, Kiaya was a monster, and I want to see if GAM can set that up here again today.
Yes, because now they're up against Canna and Canyon, of course. That is definitely a tall order. And let's talk about DPlus KIA then. We set it up already as they haven't really fulfilled the expectations this entire year, I think. But what we do know is that when they're up versus competition that is lower ranked than them or that they should be better than, they usually crush them.
Yeah, and I think we got to see that a lot against BDS, right? Where we actually got an opportunity to see them take something like the Caitlyn and really run away with it. And I actually want to take a second to kind of deep dive into that a little bit more. And this was picked out with the help of Chronicler to go through some of these stuff. So as we get into this, the two things that I really want you to take note of is first how much of the pushing waves are actually here in favor of DK. So already you've got ShowMaker. It is not. It's a Nico, so don't get confused in the mid lane. But ShowMaker has the push, and so does Deft in this bot lane. And as we start to play this one out, what you're going to see is they start to move in to get a ward just on the top side here for ShowMaker as he starts to move in. Spotted Sheo as he's taking his wolves, the Raptors. And then as well, you've also got this other one that's down the bot side here for Kellin. And the big thing that you want to try and do here is secure vision of Sheo, so then you can actually track him as Canyon. And Canyon does a fantastic job of this. You're going to see him start to move with Sheo. And this concern that Sheo has is like, okay, I need to get in and try and disrupt this bot lane, but I'm not being given that opportunity. Canyon is always there at every point in time, and you'll even see as we start to come into this one as well. This is several minutes later into the game. This is 12 minutes later now. We're still seeing this big vision control that's been set up on this bot side jungle to track out where Sheo is. He hasn't had a chance to interrupt the map whatsoever. And as we start to roll into it then, you're going to see that BDS suddenly feel the pressure of, right, we're about to lose our bot lane tower. We need to try and go for some sort of 50-50 play. And Labrov goes in, but again, Canyon's been tracking super well. And now Kellin and Canyon are actually in a position with the TP coming through from ShowMaker to make this absolutely insane play. And they completely shut down the game from this position. And I think that's where you're going to get to see if DK are able to set up for that once more. It's going to be a major issue now for GAM.
Yes, it seems like they can be so suffocating when they know that they have the advantage in these games. And we have to remember that for DPlus KIA, it is that comeback run. They started in the 0-2 pool. How far can they go with their tournament lives on the line? It is a question if GAM Esports can take down another world champion, or will it be smooth sailing for DPlus KIA? Day 7 of World Swiss Stage starts right now.
저희 2승 1패 팀에 이제 정말 강한 팀들이 많은데 KT 롤스터가 어떤 팀인지 보여드리도록 하겠습니다.
就是进入2杠1的阶段的话，我觉得我们更应该把自己的 就是一些东西问题改掉。因为下面的队伍也就是实力很接近，没有相差太多吧，然后就要继续加油。
일단은 저희 KT 롤스터가 이제 기인과 BDD 선수를 필두로 되게 강한 라인전을 가지고 있다 생각하고요.
我觉得 LNG 就是一支大家非常团结，然后性格都很好的队伍吧。然后就是大家的那个向上的心，就是一直想往前冲的。对我的下一轮对手说，我们一定会战胜你们的。
저희 KT 롤스터를 상대하려면 단단히 각오해야 할 겁니다.
GAM e스포츠 팀 정말 플레임부터 고생 많이 하셨고 하지만 여기까지인 것 같습니다.
Nó sẽ ý nghĩa về việc là bạn đánh được bài khu lớn thì điều đó chứng tỏ là em đã có được cái sự xứng đáng khi mà khu vực của em đã có được 2 chiếc vé vòng ở Berlin, cũng sẽ khiến cho tất cả khán giả của VCS đều cảm thấy tự hào.
상체, 미드 정글 탑 위주로 굴러가는 팀이라고 생각해서 저희 팀도 상체 싸움이 굉장히 중요할 것 같고
Nụ cười và cái sự không khí trong team rất là quan trọng. Khi mà em cười và em thấy vui thì tất nhiên là em chơi game sẽ tốt hơn.
저희가 압도적으로 이겨서 그들의 웃음을 없애드리도록 하겠습니다.
Nếu như mà bạn gặp GAM thì bạn nên cẩn thận và đừng chủ quan, bởi vì team GAM sẽ đánh bại bạn bất cứ thời điểm nào mà bạn chủ quan.
Hello everyone and welcome to day 7 of the Swiss stage. I'm Medic, this is Kobe, that's Chronicler on the end. Both of whom are slightly under the weather, but hopefully we can manage our way through what could be an exciting 6-game day.
He always brightens our day, correct?
Yeah, I'm
welcome to Medic as well.
I'm happy you're finally here. You know, as the Korean representative, it's up to me to welcome you here. I hope you've had a good time thus far.
Yeah, I'm not that
very
jet lagged.
convincing.
Look, I arrived, I slept, and now I'm here. So yes, it's been a good time.
So far, so good.
It's been excellent. Yeah.
There's a little latency here.
Yeah, it's okay. I think we'll be all right.
Nice.
I got a good feeling about this one.
I'm super excited for this one. I mean, we had, of course, last year kind of the season 1 of Deft's story, and now we're leading into season 2 already. They're making their lower bracket run, started in the previous series, and now looking to continue it to be able to qualify here. And it's really impressive stuff with Canyon and ShowMaker really trying to return to that top form as well.
And I think the expectation for DPlus KIA has to be that today should be a 2-0 for them in terms of quality of player, in terms of quality of the league that they come from, and general quality of the team. DPlus have to be the favorites coming in. The question is, can GAM do something very, very funny?
It's also, for DPlus, these type of expectations have been their absolute downfall, and I think their biggest enemy. We all know what this roster, in theory, should be capable of, but we just haven't really seen that consistently throughout the year. And if they drop even a game to GAM, I think a lot of DPlus fans will be worried, specifically because this team has struggled so much with, if they feel like they're in a position where they should be winning, where they should be dominant, and they drop, they haven't always really been able to deal with that very well. And you know, scrims are one thing. We know that this team is able to excel there, but translating it consistently to the stage needs to happen for them to make a deeper run here at Worlds.
And GAM themselves have shown some pretty impressive stuff in their series versus Team Liquid. I love how they play to their strengths. Levi and Kiaya winning multiple skirmishes on the top side of the map to completely snowball out of control. You know, playing their flavor as well. Levi with his most played Wukong, continuing to stick with that, continuing to blast people as well. So GAM, no, they were not lying when they said if you do not have your guard up, they will knock you out. They will give you that punch. So I want to see what they can pull out today.
And I think the risk for GAM there is their top side and their jungle has been the most impressive part of the roster, but on the other side you have Canyon. and Canyon has so consistently been the most impressive part of DK. Can you actually set this guy behind in the early game? And even if you do play through top, will Canyon be finding leads on the other side of the map?
And that also is kind of relying on Canyon showing the form in his POG games. Because as much as I know Kobe in particular is his jungle GOAT, has had also games that will leave DK fans a little bit worried. But against teams that they feel like they are favored towards, DPlus have an absolutely incredible win record in series and games throughout the year. And given that GAM, even for all their achievements, on paper are weaker, DK should be filled with confidence, but the respect towards Levi already being paid.
Yeah, already. Wukong off the board as well here from DPlus, really targeting them. It says a lot when the jungle GOAT is giving you that respect. I like it.
It's Levi's most played across the course of the year, 84% win rate on it. Maokai as well, undefeated on that this year, 8-0. So we'll see if DK decide to continue to pinch that jungle pool. Instead, the Kalista, who, although on the stage hasn't been that impressive, is obviously making waves in scrims.
And I want to point out something kind of interesting about DPlus draft strategy so far at Worlds. They've actually had Deft not play Xayah or Kai'Sa one single time so far in the tournament. He's opted every time for something with extra range. You know, he played the Caitlyn, he played the Ziggs, he played the Varus as well. So it's been a different, interesting kind of take here for the DPlus bottom lane. Of course, a lot of people also memeing on Kellin for missing some Alistar combos, but still definitely a premier champion.
Orianna, to me, is the main pick, especially with the Xayah being banned away. ShowMaker, however, has mentioned that he feels like, as the Kai'Sa will get picked up, that Orianna specifically, as strong as she is, does require more resources. It's an immobile champion, so against some mid-jungle 2v2s, you can kind of struggle. And I would expect DPlus to kind of follow what they've been doing, give a lot of resources, both in draft and in jungle attention towards the bot side of the map, because playing towards Deft, I think, is the best that DK have looked. And even if you know, like them playing towards that mid-jungle 2v2, they've definitely been the most consistent if Deft is in a good position.
All right, GAM instantly lock in some carry attack combo here. The classic spicy hot pot, Jarvan Cataclysm, Rumble, ultimate over the top of it. And we had a big conversation about the top side of the map. Rumble has been absolutely oppressive in the top side. Not really anyone has been able to find any hard counters to it, so it's mostly just been kind of answers here, and the Cassante will be picked up again. Jarvan with the early ganking potential here. It looks like GAM definitely coming out with some early firepower, and DPlus maybe weather the storm there.
They're making their intentions known, aren't they? Like, we are going to play through top. We're going to try and get Levi and Kiaya ahead. Kiaya, 5 games on the Rumble in this year, has won 4 of those. And now we'll see where DK decides to go. Jungle pick Lee Sin for Canyon alongside that Kai'Sa and Cassante.
I always love Lee Sin into Jarvan, but especially love me some Canyon Lee Sin. Jungle GOAT indeed. Let's see what he's got this time around. Here's your Orianna though. After they already kind of flashed the Syndra and let it go, you know, DPlus and ShowMaker himself are saying, yeah, it's fine. I will drop my mid lane pick as DPlus and let you have that Orianna protected by 2 bans.
And we've basically seen 2 approaches, I think, domestically against DPlus as well. One is try and match them early, because if they don't get ahead early, they really struggle, or draft team fight and wait for them to mess up. And thus far, GAM really going heavy on the team fighting power.
Now, I think ShowMaker's actually, even though they flashed the Syndra, maybe that was a little bit of trying to bait them, because when you're looking at a Jarvan jungle in addition to the Orianna matchup, you usually want something more mobile to be able to dodge that. Akali, Yone, those types of things. You can go for kill pressure with a Lee Sin as well. So definitely want to see how risky they're feeling, and if GAM want a protection ban, you know, something like the Akali instead.
And that's kind of a tough one, because both Akali and Azir, I think, are great picks here. Now, the Azir makes sense to me because it's been the one that ShowMaker has mostly been going for. But the Akali, ever since it was brought out by Chovy, has seemed like a very successful mid to late game answer into the Orianna specifically. And I wouldn't be surprised if that is what is picked up. Does mean that the mid jungle 2v2 doesn't really come online until level 6.
Yeah, I mean, you intentionally sacrifice some things when you're picking Akali. The early skirmishing, yes, going to sacrifice that. You're going to sacrifice wave push as well early on, but you will turn into such a good side laner later. It makes it very difficult for GAM to play anything besides a clumped up 5-on-5. But, you know, with the comp that they're showing already, that is going to be the direction they go no matter what.
And I think the R4 Rakan here from GAM is actually very obvious. Right? It's such an easy pick, hasn't been banned so far, safest support left, especially with the Renata ban. You can't really be shut down in the lane too much. It does open up DPlus KIA for the Rell pick, and then alongside that, their mid laner, the Akali that we've been talking about. But if I'm GAM, I'm looking at this composition, and I'm very happy with what I've drafted. You have late game insurance with the Orianna, you have jungle top early pressure with the Rumble Jarvan, and then you have Pallet on one of his signature champions in the Rakan.
Yeah, this is exactly bread and butter for GAM. Some winning skirmish style stuff towards the top side of the map, get spicy maybe, try and get an early lead, and then Kati on something that does scale super nicely for later, that can be that big carry for the later team fights. Here's another look though, ShowMaker gonna drop down the Sylas.
And for me, really big, we'll see how he's able to actually deal with the Rumble ultimate placement. I think we've seen a very big discrepancy between mid laners throwing equalizers and top laners throwing equalizers. Is definitely a specific skill set. Do you think that the Zeri, as strong as it is when it comes to mid to late game fights, might tilt the GAM composition a little bit too far into the scaling direction? Because I do think that DPlus, for all their mid game faults, we've seen them lose, I feel like from like 5 to 8k gold leads multiple times throughout the year. At the same time, letting them have free reign early is a really risky proposition, and it does kind of feel like that's what GAM is leaning towards, bar any like level 6 5v5 mega wombo shenanigans.
And whenever you're evaluating mid lane matchups, you also have to take into account the support roam timers here. And so if you are going to give up some push on bottom side or some priority from bottom side, then that definitely means these supports are coming for your flash in mid lane, try and make some visits early and often.
I think it does isolate Slayder a little bit if Pallet wants to get out of that lane, look up towards the top lane. That's kind of where we expect GAM's focus to be in the early game. DK obviously have the survivability of Cassante up there. He can tank a lot of pressure. And with the game plan being so obviously spelt out by GAM, you have to think that DK will be investing into vision early, investing into pressure early in that top side to make sure that Canna can survive the first 5 to 10 minutes of this game.
Yeah, for me personally, I'm going to be looking towards how well are you able to track Canyon early, and can you avoid like 2v2s and 3v3s that kind of can accelerate the game. If this goes even for like the first 10-15 minutes, I think that you're in a great position here as GAM. However, what I expect is Canyon is going to be looking to play towards ShowMaker and towards that bot side. And if Kaisa or Sylas get ahead and DK is perma-skirmishing for every single objective, the game becomes very hard to keep up with if you're GAM.
Yeah, definitely going to be worried about topside snowballs with the way the last couple have gone as well, and see if this Rumble will actually take off, and we can judge it by the Huni ignite or no ignite in topside. I think this one probably would be an ignite game, even though you are versus the Cassante. You have the Jarvan jungle. Really get in there, look for those wins in the skirmishes early on, transfer it into an early Rift Herald, start taking away the turrets that way, and try and push it forward.
How much can GAM open up the map in the early game? Will Canyon be tracked by Levi and the rest of the squad? DPlus obviously had a poor start to this Worlds, falling down into the 1-2 bracket, but are now back to winning ways, having defeated BDS a couple of days ago. Can they continue that run? I think GAM probably one of the easier opposition they could have faced in this bracket. There were some challenging teams sitting at 1 and 2, but you have to beat who's in front of you. And this year, DPlus KIA have struggled to do so at times.
Yeah, and I want to explain the meme that we have there to the right, like ShowMaker carrying the log.
Sure.
It's a metaphor that's used a lot, and I think specifically relating to DK, where everyone in the team needs to make sure that they collectively carry the log, and don't just have like one guy do it while the rest are like shouting, "You're doing a good job. Keep it up. Go carry that log to the other side of the arena."
Okay, I'm glad you explained it, because I kind of thought he was like lounging on a couch.
No.
Oh yeah, just chilling.
No, he was struggling.
As the rest of the team were watching him. If I shout who's got the log in the middle of a cast, can you follow up on? Let's get on to Summoner's Rift for our first game of the day. DPlus KIA facing off against the GAM. An elimination match. The loser of this best of 3 is taken out of Worlds.
It's a team log, medic.
It's a team log.
It's very similar to the bus driver. You know, someone always has to be the bus driver. And if you're on the bus, then you just say thank you for the free LP.
Okay, sure. But you not multiple people driving the bus, because that would be
that's
a bit
dangerous.
more,
Yeah.
Okay, but multiple people need to carry the log.
You can be a good passenger on the bus.
That's true. And you guys can also be good passengers watching at home, because you don't need to forget to log in and watch on lollysports.com to earn exclusive Worlds 2023 drops like emotes and icons. They're cool, the drops. You can get some cool stuff. Esports capsules.
So 2 things I want to note. Canna has not gone for Aftershock, which is tech we see a lot into the Rumble, where you itemize for early MR, and then with Aftershock you're actually able to shrug off a lot of the harass. And Kiaya, and Hooney's on the desk, so I won't go into too much detail, but did go for the teleport here, as opposed to the Ignite. Now, of course, as mentioned, this is Cassante lane, so you can feel like you might have less kill pressure there, but does really diminish some of the pressure that the Rumble might otherwise have.
Both junglers starting their blue buffs here, so will it to end on opposite sides as well. Canyon going to be pathing away from that lane, away from the Cassante, away from the Rumble, not as scared. And meanwhile, wonder if he actually makes his look to try and punish ShowMaker and start burning his flash early and really try and get the most out of some of these early pushing levels here for the Orianna, because having that early advantage in wave clear here definitely can be a way to start it up.
We have seen some Jarvans do the bot side, come through mid for a quick level 3 gank, and then work their way back up towards the top side. There is a ward on the Razorbeaks from ShowMaker that we saw being placed earlier, so Levi will be tracked as he works his way across. In fact, they pretty much know that he started on the bot side of the map because he hasn't appeared on his Razorbeaks yet, and if he had appeared, then they would know that he started top side.
Yeah, and we're about to see now the reveal. And they'll know both junglers just going for smooth, full clears here. All lanes kind of going as expected too. Kati got to push in the first couple of waves. Bounce on back now. Meanwhile, bottom side is pushing for DPlus as expected as well.
Took us in the SK like 4 months into, for me at least, into spring.
Took me years to change SKT to T1.
Yeah, that comes with the territory, and right now we did actually see pings going down from GAM as well, so they were aware that Levi was getting tracked towards the top side of his map, but isn't really going to mean too much with Slayder and Palat being very conservative with their trading. I say as Palat goes in, but he's Rakan, so he's fine. There is already an opportunity for a dive, so the knowledge not going to lead to anything right now except a crap trade.
Yeah. I will say that sort of Rakan play is one where, as an AD carry, you're kind of like, like maybe Kellin jumps in with the W on the Rell, but apart from that, I really can't trade because there's a minion under the tower anyway, though I would much prefer to last hit than trying to get some damage down onto the Rell. So overall, not too much happening there in the bot lane. I believe
good vision
that
toggle.
Canyon was spotted. As we see Kati pushing up, pallet trading in the bottom side as Kellin and Deft get the right side of that one. Levi coming in, doesn't land the EQ, but ShowMaker forced away half HP. And it's just ships passing in the night as both the junglers work their way down towards the opposite side of the map.
Yeah, it seems like we'll have a pretty calm opening to this very important game for both of these teams. Such a meaningful series here with both of these teams going through their struggles, like you said, already in the tournament. GAM, of course, coming through play-ins, dropping early, but then being able to still... Oh,
it's a good trade. Pallet's so low already, down to 100 HP. Ignite is ticking on him. Will he get away? Void Seeker's enough and first blood to DK.
Deft, the sniper, hits the W, gets the first blood bonus. That is exactly where DPlus want their money. All right, now, no more calm from GAM. All right, now it's time to turn it into overdrive. Once you see Deft get first blood, better turn up the pace.
Not the start that you're looking for. Already this Kaisa going to get ahead. And this is something that I really appreciate about the DPlus composition is, Kellin? You are
He's
alone.
by himself, so...
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
There's no damage here. He's just upping his skill shot hit percentage.
Yeah, particularly given Kellin's tournament thus far, you know. His Enchanter plays looked great. His Engage play, not really the level that we've come to expect from this player. But particularly because if Kaisa gets that look at the rest of the team, every single lane is set up for Killer Instinct, right? So if you ever are able to set up a play and rotate Deft away, can get him so much fed, or so much more fed very, very quickly.
Yeah,
invade.
Kellin doing his job, you know, his whole point there was just to try and delay minions a little bit getting under the tower to allow Deft time to arrive so he can pick them all up and maximize his gold. Meanwhile, the jungle raptor fight, the classic, does go the way of the cheater who brings his support with him.
Look, I've had many fights over fried chicken over the years. I don't really blame them for battling it out over that. We saw Levi as well come down towards the bottom lane to make sure that Slayder could push this out. But all in all, this is just Pallet getting caught out with the stun. He tries to dash away, but can't escape in time.
Yeah, you always have to be really careful versus Rell to get within Q range of the brush. Because, yes, the crash down's pretty easy to dodge if there's nothing to set it up. But if you get in that crew range of the brush, Kellin does a very good job. Hits him, then easy crash down follow-up. And enough burst damage with that ignite, with the W hitting. With that bottom lane pressure as well, it's going to be a pretty easy setup for Drake #1 here for Dom1, so they have a pretty clear path to start controlling their objectives.
And that's the unfortunate part. If that kill on bot side doesn't happen, you know, the little play, stealing the chickens, keeping track of Canyon, using the priority that Orianna has early, can feel really good. But because of the fact that Deft already has is in a very good position in this 1v1, plus still has heal, you know, Kellin still has a sums as Canyon just keeps losing against Scuttle. This seems to be a recurring theme for him, just like Doran with his cannons.
Hey, Doran deliberately left that cannon, okay, Chronicler?
I'm not going to pretend I know what is happening with Doran. He's an enigma.
Canyon also still kills the Scuttle Crab, just a little I don't need this. Takes away the blue buff as well. Wow, Levi's looking mid with level 6. ShowMaker still has flash though, so it's pretty hard to actually get the kill there.
That's another stun landing. There's already the plasma built up. Killer Instinct living up to its name as Deft takes his second of the game.
Oh man, this GAM bottom lane. Remember, this was the part of the team that was added most recently after MSI. Kellin's not done.
Slayder able to dodge to the side, has hit 6, has that lightning crash if he wants. It continues to put the damage down on Deft. Deft trying to trade back in. Slayder flashes away, but Canyon's here! And the Dragon's range is enough to secure the kill.
And Levi's kind of around, but they're going to see Levi on some wards, so I don't think Levi's even going to be able to get any kills back for GAM. It is heartbreaking for GAM, and it is just a tutorial for DPlus.
And DPlus feels so confident because not only was Canyon invading, look at the bot side vision that they have. It was the same thing that they did against BDS, where they are able to play this aggressively because of the control that Canyon's able to get. And then the moment that Pallet goes down, I understand Slayder, because I feel like at this point the desperation sets in, right? You're playing against a 2-0 Kaisa. You want to try and get something going. Kellin doesn't hit the Q.
I honestly think he wins the 2v1 if we don't have Canyon show up at the end.
But they also don't do that unless they have Canyon right there.
True.
So
and the heal was enough to keep him alive in the end there, so it might have just been a, you know, flash for heal. Yeah.
But with the way that this early game is going, with DPlus smashing this GAM bottom lane in this fashion, it means that it's going to be so difficult for GAM to rely on that for later, and DPlus can really, really accelerate. They can now really start to focus on the Rift Herald that has arrived, and so we have support roam timers. It looks like Kellin is going to get sight of Slayder roaming up, and GAM, their kind of idea of sending all 5 for the Rift Herald fight gets sussed out.
Kellin already level 6 as well. Pallet still probably a wave and a half away from getting there. Levi has started up this Rift Herald, and looks like DK actually either unaware or deciding not to fight it.
Yeah, during the vision toggle, it looked like they didn't see him, but I think once he turned around, back around the Herald, they did. And Canyon says, that's fine. You can go Rift Herald, you can go topside. I'm just going to continue to control down here so Deft can eat.
He's already got 150 gold bounty, 2 kills on him. Looks like it might be the static shift build here from Deft as well, with Kirchi's shard sitting in his inventory.
And this is always what you want to do as a jungler when you've got a lane like that you want to keep in isolation so you can keep on winning. If you just take away the jungle camps of your opponent that are on the bottom side of the map where you want to have that control, then if they decide to try and come fight it and help out their bottom lane, then you will lose out on efficiency. You'll lose out on time because you don't have your own camps to farm to fall back on there because Canyon's already taken them away.
Kirchi's shard obviously building into Stormrazor as well. Briefly skipped my mind, but it is Stormrazor for Deft on the Kaiser. There's so many builds, like you can basically go wherever you want.
That's okay. This is a mistake that Aiming made in week 1 of LCK as well, leading to some static shift shenanigans. But as mentioned, the fact that the Kai'Sa is this accelerated also means that the stacking of Drakes is going to become really easy for DPlus, and I feel like that's one of the premier ways where even if you have a composition which I think might struggle a little bit in 5v5 against the power of GAM, if you're up like 3 Drakes, you can just trade objectives across the map and accelerate that gold. You don't really have to worry that much about the 5v5 for the next, I don't know how many minutes. Look at the gold on Deft.
And just even look at the last 30 seconds, though. I know I've got some Canyon bias, but he really did just kind of delete the last 30, 45 seconds from Levi. No camps on the bottom side for him to take it all, so he just kind of wanders through DPlus vision, hangs around mid lane for a second on more DPlus vision, and eventually only has to be able to go salvage his Krugs up here. So really good stuff from Canyon to continue to play off the same area of the map to just further increase the lead. And that's something, those little min-max things for junglers to be able to deny enemy camps like that and deny your efficiency of time that the very best in the world will do and will punish you with. Now Levi's doing a little bit of a surprise, but there's no DPS here, so maybe just hold the wave until they get their lane swap and Slayder comes up.
Yeah, and you also see clear indication. GAM's like, we're not going to be able to contest this dragon anyway, so Levi showing doesn't really change anything here. The problem is that knowing that Levi is on top side does mean that Deft can play even more aggressive. As all palette, I don't know if he knows about Kellin.
He's able to dodge away in time. One of the things that is great about Rakan is just how slippery he can be, how it escapes the gank. 2 plates fall in the top lane, but that's already been answered by 2 plates in the bottom lane for DK. Yeah. Have about 1,500 gold lead as we get over that 12-minute mark.
The other kind of knock-on effect for out-jungling like that, you get a really early transformation to be able to get your smite upgraded to have advantage in smite fights. Yep. And with so many of like these third dragons and Rift Heralds and Barons coming down to a lot of possible smite fights, if you get your upgraded version and your opponent is still sitting on a couple of extra camp clears that they were unable to get because you denied them and then spent a bunch of time shadowing lanes and stuff like that, it can be such a big knock-on effect. I mean, 106 CS now to 74 here for Canyon, plus the advantage for his laners on the bottom side. I mean, DPlus, game number 1 is looking like it's going straight through DPlus plans. ShowMaker now going to make a visit as well, see if he can try his hand at the lane swap as they rotate their AD carry and support towards mid.
Now for GAM, I think the gold lead specifically is still manageable. You know, it's not looking too odd, and I do think that once the next Drake, for by the way, Cloud Drake, which DPlus obviously will love, having seen that Drake basically infinite times since we had the LCK, love those. But particularly with the power of the wombo combo that they still have, one of the biggest weaknesses of DK and the reason why they've struggled against teams like KT and Genji in particular is that their team fighting has been pretty hit or miss, and they've been known to try and over-engage. So I would really like to see GAM keep up the ward so that they can go for these type of press. Oh, there we go.
Big flash away from Deft that keeps getting chucked by Kati, and as part of the power of GAM's composition, we wondered how explosive it would be in the early game, but they do have this good scaling, as you both mentioned in draft, and Orianna, after probably 2 items, can really start to take over a game.
And yeah, catching them in rotations, right? Example there, DPlus often goes for these fights when they don't necessarily have the resources to, and I like this push from GAM, playing really aggressive here towards mid. It's first turret. This for free.
I mean, I will say, slight gold lead for Deft in the AD carry role. Yes, he did just burn his flash, but he was kind of isolated.
He's fine.
See how well he does in team fights later on.
In the VCS, Kati generally was their like late game insurance here. So for the Orianna, such a champion that scales so well on this patch, to be getting those resources and to take away the safety of the mid lane, to be able to rotate through these plays, over through the jungle, over up to second Rift Herald and Dragon number 3. Maybe this is the angle for GAM to get there. Jarvan engage, because they want the big wombo combo. Remember, they want to use all of their champions, all of their ultimates in concert to be able to wombo combo Damwon, or DPlus here. And Deft will be the big target because Kati early blew his flash. If they can get that Jarvan combo with Shockwave, with Rumble ultimate on the Deft, even with the Killer Instinct reposition, they should be able to get him.
It's actually incredible timing as well from Kati there. 2 minutes on the Cloud Drake. It would be sole point for DK if they could take that, but now without Death's flash, you wonder how aggressive DK will want to be, especially since we're seeing first items completed on the side of GAM. Now we'll see a little bit of a catch out here on Pallet, but that's once again the slipperiness of Rakan.
And I can assure DK will. They will go.
They'll fight it?
Yeah, no,
cool.
they're 100%. They're going for it. And I think the biggest saving grace for DPlus is that at this point, Canyon is also still so insanely strong that even if they overinvest, I think that's the one trap that GAM can't fall in, is overinvest into trying to kill Deft.
ShowMaker's got a big flank here coming from the back. They got to know he's there, though. Yeah, Kati spots him out. Everfrost
Short. The knock-up. Canna doesn't quite hit. Flamespitter coming out. Kellin goes in and immediately Cataclysm on the back line. Charm coming out as well and Kellin's already down. Slayder gets his first of the game alongside GAM's first of this best of 3. In the end, the Rift Herald picked up for DK, but GAM get a kill out of it.
Worthy trade there for DPlus, but they do have to give up their Rell, so they're not getting it for free. Cam able to pick up a kill. We'll see who's in a better position here. And if Canna doesn't flash Kati's ultimate there, I think he goes down as well.
One of the big things is that GAM used every single ultimate there. So while they got a kill, now we're going to be looking at 30 seconds on this next Cloud Dragon.
With the Herald.
Yeah, and Canyon and ShowMaker both saved their ultimates. So we'll take another look at it, and it is a little preemptive as Kellin goes in for the big combo here. They're trying to get onto Kiaya early so they don't get the focus from GAM. They get that big kill onto Kellin, but I want to see if Damwon can now force it on the Dragon as ShowMaker goes for the 1v1.
For the Rude Abs gone back dark. The shockwave stolen, but Kati! The flash burn from ShowMaker in the end.
And that's going to be DPlus able to pick up a kill there. No Orianna, and that means the Drake a foregone conclusion. Soul point here at 17 minutes for DPlus.
There we go. ShowMaker saves his ultimate from the fight, goes for the 1v1 after. Orianna sombrero ultimate, point blank, gets the kill, flash for flash trade, and guarantees Damwon Dragon number 3, soul point at 17.5 minutes, Medic.
It's pretty quick. I've got to be honest.
Not bad.
They've done a great job of controlling through the bottom lane. We haven't really seen GAM be as explosive as perhaps was promised. They are scaling into this game, and it's still only a 1,500 gold lead. I will say as well, Cloud Soul is great and all, but it's not the most impactful soul for this game.
And I'm kind of wondering for DPlus, as ShowMaker will get sussed out here, there's a lot of reinforcements on the way as well, so he's not going to try and make any risky moves, although Cannon and Kellin there, maybe they want to go, but everyone's aware of each other, so shouldn't be going in too aggressive there. Is that in the 1v1 and in the sides, ShowMaker is unmatched, right? Should be able to deal easily with whoever he meets. Is very evident here as he just hits the Everfrost and then chains from that point on his CC perfectly. That's the flash, but definitely will do that with no regrets. You don't actually have to contest Drake now for like the next 20-something minutes.
If you're DK.
If you're DK, right? So you can play heavily towards getting more gold, and then by the time you actually do decide to 5v5, your lead should be accelerated so much from the turrets, because that's actually one thing that I think DPlus did really well in their series against BDS that we haven't really seen them be able to, which is getting a lot of objectives. The dragons, yes, but the turrets are all still standing, so GAM are still really safe on the map here, and I think DPlus need to snowball, might start here.
Canna looking for a little bit of flank. The Rift Herald will charge in. Canyon now using that Cloud Rift to speed his way up towards the top lane, but Slayder, aware of it, will back away. And that vision line continues to extend from DK, a couple of wards just towards the GAM side of the map. And it's a position where it can become hard to play from behind, because although your towers do remain, you're always pushed back in the lane. It gives DK that option just to move between the lanes ever so slightly quicker.
And while those towers for GAM do remain, right now they are very tenuous.
They're struggling.
Every single one of them extremely low here, so there's a lot of standing gold for DPlus to be able to knock over pretty quickly if they make a hard push. And honestly, I think that ShowMaker should be able to get top right now while Canna also simultaneously gets the bottom. So this could be a big balloon and gold lead. And I definitely expect DPlus to hard force on the coming Dragon. They've already got Rage Blade done for Deft. 2-item power spike for the Kaisa at 20 minutes.
Also mean, particularly with Rage Blade, like Baron is gonna go up in seconds, right? So GAM are going to be in a position in about a minute and a half where either you try and contest towards the bot side of the map, but with their composition, you can't really afford to have people isolated, so you kind of have to move as a 5-man unit towards Dragon. But if DK spots you in that, they can just hard commit to Nash. But then if you don't, and you let them, you know, move towards the Dragon and try to contest Nash instead, then you get blown up because they get Soul. And I gotta say, I don't think you need more mobility on things like the Rell or Kaisa or particularly the Sylas. And Cloud Soul definitely going to be unfun to play into in that regard.
Yeah, you don't. Maybe you don't need more mobility, but dang is it fun.
You know?
Dang is it fun.
You already can't get away if you're Kati from ShowMaker in a side lane. Like, if he gets Cloud Soul.
Well, they can't get away more.
Yeah, I mean, you know, actually, is that worse? Maybe not. It's fine.
All right. Let's see, too, because with both sides pushing in, I mean, GAM are in such a touch spot. You're constantly losing on side lanes being pushed in, and then that threatens the collapse into the flank and even possible dives here. The tower's so low that DPlus could be able to collapse here. It looks like GAM setting up for the counter, though. You see Kiaya in the brush, ready with the Rumble ultimate. GAM hoping that they can pull out the Miracle Wombo combo. Deft and ShowMaker both have flash now, though, so pretty difficult to actually accomplish.
It's also really hard for GAM if they look for an engage because you just don't have vision in the river. You have one ward in that bot side bush and one ward in the mid lane and one ward just over here, but Kellin was up backing in the pixel bush on the top side. You don't know that. He could be behind you for all the knowledge you have. So this is where it becomes very hard for GAM to actually find those wombo engages, and really they're hoping that DK overinvest into them and then they can wombo them as they try to engage.
Schrodinger's Kellin exists in all states. Ganking, flanking, inting, sometimes. Not this game, though. Absolutely really good stuff from him. Starting off a lot of the action on the bottom side, a lot of those engages. And really setting up DPlus for a very comfortable game number 1. Let's get it then. 7 seconds on this Dragon. Here we go. We've got one big opportunity here.
And we did just get the quick blades done for Slayder as well. It's also Kati finishing Morello, Sterix for Levi. So GAM gonna try desperately. If they can get a teamfight win here, it could be what stabilizes the game for them. And with this teamfight comp, that could be enough.
Kellin looking for the flank. Dragon already down to 5,000 HP. Canyon looking for the kick as well as Pallet has to back away. Levi on that front line looking for the steal. Could jump in here. Canyon comes back in. EQ flash. The equalizer on the backline as well as Deft is already low, but Cannon dives in. Slayder trying to do what he can already. The Dragon's down to DK. Get the soul. Kiaya falls away. Levi goes in with a cataclysm, but he just doesn't have the damage to work his way through Deft. DK win the fight and they get the soul to boot.
Oh man, that is going to be pretty big. They can reset and even look to try and set up a round Baron. 30 seconds left on Levi, the jungler. No flash left on him either. Canna's going to split push on bottom for a second. Now he goes to channel the recall, and there's the teleport. Looks like they are going to make the rotation.
Ooh, and also do note, Deft still has his ultimate available, so if anyone from GAM steps too far forward, he can join in a moment's notice. And as mentioned, with that Rage Blade, Nash is going to go up in seconds.
Yeah, I don't think Levi has time to spawn and get there, so it's going to need a miracle for GAM to steal. They can 4-on-5 try and just force them off with a fight.
What are you going to do, just walk at them? Yeah. That's what they're trying right now, but
Shockwave,
honest, not most effective strategy I've ever seen as Canyon secures the Baron and Kiaya pays for it with his life.
All right, let's wrap it up. DPlus in 24 minutes have acquired everything on the Rift. Time to push down some towers. Here's another look at the Dragon Smite fight. I want to see this because Levi actually gets a combo onto Deft and Rumble Ultimate is used there, but really good stuff from Canyon. He secures the Dragon with the Lee Sin combo. They chase off everybody else and then kill Levi as well. And they know with that jungler down, Baron's as good as yours.
Credit to ShowMaker as well. He held this Rakan for so long on the backline. No one could step through that choke.
Yeah, and because of that, plus the fact that the equalizer wasn't perfectly lined up with the EQ combo, even though it was really nice that Levi was able to hit the flash, it meant that Deft was able to actually continue to 1v1, and then no one else could get to him because of the zoning that was being done. And then GAM, I think, you know, trying to get anything done there, I understand, but at the same time, they did actually use all their ultimates in that fight. So without your ultimates and without your Jarvan, the composition just doesn't have the power necessary. And now Soul's there, DK gets to pick up all that objective gold that we were talking about. And from this point on for GAM, team fight power not, you're really going to need a miracle. And DPlus, from this position, should be able to cruise here towards a Game 1 victory. Now, that's been said before.
So I'm just checking, DPlus aren't like KT, where if we say they're going to win, they lose, right?
Not. I don't know.
Not to that extent?
That depends on which DPlus fan you ask.
Okay.
Definitely not right now, too, with a 7,000 gold lead, with the Dragon Soul, with the Baron buff. And they've still got 1 minute and 20 seconds left on this Baron buff. They keep going.
Yeah, ShowMaker going in. Kiaya just burst out by Deft. ShowMaker puts an equalizer down himself and pops the stopwatch so he doesn't go pop underneath the tower. Inhibitor tower already down as Deft flashes forward. Slayder with the lightning crash, but the shield from the Guardian for Pallet does not arrive in time. Now Pallet dancing away as Canyon looks for the kick. Dash away from Levi, and DK are just pushing in on 3 separate fronts.
All right. That's going to be 2 inhibitors down and probably looking for Nexus now. Slayder down for 27 seconds. Kiaya down for 20. DPlus looking to end game 1.
Levi puts the Cataclysm down, but it's really just a jacuzzi for DK as they boil him in the midst of it. The kickback as well. A bit of showmanship there from Canyon to end this one out. 26 minutes is all it took for DK to once again defeat a team lower ranked than them.
And it might not be his birthday, but Deft and me really standing out here, and him, and most importantly, Kellin, able to do well in this first game. They're able to get them the 1-0 lead. And for Deft, I think he's been having a great year, a great tournament. But for Kellin, even though, you know, we've seen Slayder and Pallet already struggle a little bit with 2v2s, you take any win you can get. Kellin's first couple of games were so incredibly rough. Some of the worst plays we've seen from him ever, right? Even going back to his Team Dynamics days. So being able to get multiple 2v2 kills and kind of break open the game, great way to start off this best of 3 for DPlus.
Yeah, he started it all. The Q from the brush into the crash down, ignite for the first blood there for DPlus, and they never looked back. Then Canyon takes control, uses that foothold of the winning bottom lane, completely takes away Levi's options on that side of the map, and pure control from DPlus in game number 1. So we got to change something up quick for GAM in game number 2.
I will say, as much as DK had the control, I do think that GAM didn't do as much in the early game as usually we see them do. It felt more like they were trying to react to DK putting the pressure on, and like they were comfortable scaling towards 2 items. We didn't see Levi around Kiaya. We didn't see pressure through the top jungle, which is where they've thrived so much. I would love to see that a little bit more in game 2.
Yeah, and I think that the draft didn't give them as much room to maybe do so. Particularly the Zeri, I think, really tipped it over into, we're just going to sit back and wait. And against DPlus, I don't think you can afford to do that.
Well, we'll see what the analysts say as well, as we're going to hand it over to them after DK took down game 1.
Exactly the same as what you guys said, I think, especially this guy, Deft. Of course, the resident alpaca here on the desk for today. And I think they talked about the draft, but honestly, you got a pretty good draft for GAM.
Yeah.
I think you can be really happy with that. So I think that's the most frustrating thing, perhaps, about how this early game went.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it kind of felt like they got everything you could possibly want. I mean, you got the strongest pick in top, you got the strongest pick that was available in jungle, Orianna, you got the Rakan, but the problem was the Rakan was kind of getting dumpstered like this, where it just was not working out at all. And once Pallet started to fall behind, it all fell apart for GAM.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point. Like, if you're getting dumpstered this much in professional league, especially on bottom this meta, when there's a Kai'Sa and Zeri, both are super high for carry, it's just not possible. And also the problem is that I think that Rumble, J4, Orianna, they are strong. They can easily make a proactive play on the top side, but we didn't see anything from the GAM, which is like, that's unusual. That's not we expected to what GAM to do it.
And I think it became very hard for GAM to kind of do that, because you saw, okay, well, because we now lost Boss, well, our Rakan isn't hitting level 6 as Rift Herald's up, so we need to now bring Slayder up into the mix so then he can try and play for Rift Herald. Now he's losing out more on bot, and then they tried to rotate him, he's losing out more in the CS, and it just became more and more of an issue where this lead in bot lane was growing, and there was just no stopping Deft in this
It tipped the scale so much that the bot lane lead was growing, because when you look at it pound for pound, as we're going to take a look at this Drake fight, if GAM get a good engage, as you say, that top side, the Jarvan, the layering of the Rumble ult and the Orianna ult, why didn't it work, Huni?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, they were behind, and also they lost the whole control. I mean, that's it. I mean, honestly, they had to fight that without any single control. That, like, I think previously there was a good example on topside Reaver fight on the Rift Herald. Like, they actually won because, like, they were playing around the positioning well. But the thing is, like, it's just cannot working well after they got these 4 behind.
Yeah, and as well, I mean, in so many of these fights, it's never like DK are all in the one spot. I mean, yes, here they are, but like when you look at that last Dragon fight, if you want everyone to be in the same room, well, if you're looking at that one, one's looking in through the window, one's at the back door, one's on the attic, like they're all over the place. No one is actually in the same place for you to hit this big wombo combo, and I think it was really well executed by DK, both of that Dragon fight, the second Rift Herald fight. Every time DK just looked prepared to actually come in for the scrap and go, well, you're not going to get us.
Yes, and it's exactly what we called up at the beginning of the show, Dagda, the fact that when DK is up versus someone who they know they have the upper hand against, it just looks so easy for them.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of what was shown in the draft, right? I think they kind of looked a bit BM going, hey, look, you can have whatever the hell you want. We're still going to be able to beat you with it. And I think the fact that you end up with having that much control on bot then just signaled that, hey, honestly, I don't know what GAM bring different to the table now.
It is difficult. So then maybe let's focus on DPlus and the journey that they are on, Huni. Can you give us some insight into why you think they didn't reach the heights that they should with this roster in the LCK and what you see from them now?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of explained it like a little bit before we touched on it, which is like in the Telestrator, which is like they have really good basic, the fundamental, like they know how to play League of Legends, but the thing is like all the player, like I think like the momentum is like it's lacking of, like which is like when they're playing better team, like I feel like there's a lot of time that they loses like lane phases like starting with, and a lot of time they are generating the lead, but the thing is like in middle game, like they just don't know what to do. So in the game, I think a lot of time I think they don't have really clear idea like as a 5 people as a team that what they want to do, like those kind of thing has to be improved. Otherwise, it's the same thing that when they play against better team, they're not going to have a better chance.
I agree with Huni. Like, every time I've watched them this tournament, it's like, once they have confidence against a team like BDS or even GAM, they're willing to make the plays that they know will push the game forward. But oftentimes when they're not really sure, they're like, oh, well, let's just, I suppose, 5v5 a Dragon. We'll see if that works out. But they're not really able to push the game forward in a manner that we saw versus BDS or even now, where it's like, okay, we can take these 2v2 plays. We can play more aggressive in the bot lane. And I think it's just the fact that DPlus feel like they are in control. They're like, cool, we can now run away with this. And I think you were bringing up a stat earlier, maybe it was Chroniker, was like, they have an insane, like nearly 90% win rate against teams that are below them. And then it's like a 30% win rate that are against teams that are above them.
You saw it here, right? I mean, the G2 game, I think, although in terms of ranking, you can argue it, but it was an example of they didn't get it done when they had to make the decisions in the mid game versus KT. It was similar, but here, of course, it's going well so far. And if you missed any of the action as the teams are grinding it out for a spot in the quarterfinals, you can check out all the VODs and highlights of the games over at youtube.com/gaming. We'll be right back with Game 2.
Dropping early, but then being able to still... Oh,
it's a good trade. Pallet so low already down to 100 HP. Ignite is ticking on him. Will he get away?
Oh!
The Void Seeker's enough and first blood to DK. Lightning crash if he wants. It continues to put the damage down on Deft. Deft trying to trade back in. Slayder flashes away, but Canyon's here.
If Damwon can now force it on the Dragon as ShowMaker goes for the
Evan
1v1.
for the Rude Abscom Dag Dug. The shockwave stolen, but Kati. The flash burn from ShowMaker in the end. Underneath the tower, inhibitor tower already down as Deft flashes forward. 26 minutes is all it took for DK to once again defeat a team lower ranked than them.